All right. Second round of nuclear talks between the United States and Iran wrapping up in Geneva, Switzerland, with negotiators signaling some progress toward a potential nuclear deal. Quote, progress was made, but there are still a lot of details to discuss. The Iranians said they would come back in the next 2 weeks with detailed proposals to address some of the open gaps in our positions. President Trump saying he remains confident a deal will come together.
I've been told that a deal is next to impossible. No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Well, as talks continue, the president's military pressure on Iran is reaching a fever pitch, with Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei now issuing a new warning to the American armada surrounding his country.
They keep saying we have sent warships toward Iran. Okay, of course a warship is a dangerous device, but more dangerous than that is a weapon that can send that warship deep under the sea.
Well, joining us now is, I'm pleased to say, the Foundation for Defense of Democracies founder, Cliff May. Cliff, thank you so much for your time tonight. I want to pick up right there on what President Trump is saying, what the United States is saying is progress with talks to, it seems like they're going to be continuing, but also what we're hearing from Iran. It seems like President Trump is extending diplomacy, but Iran is signaling that they just want to sink our military assets that are off their coast. So what do you expect to happen next in terms of the progress on this negotiation?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Lydia. What you heard from Khamenei is that he is threatening the U.S. The Iranian side will want to drag negotiations out as long as possible. They'll try to do what they did to Biden, what they did very much to Obama, keep negotiating, hope that the envoys at Witkoff, for example, will say, you know, a bad deal's better than no deal. My job is to get a deal. Let's see what I can do. The president has very strict red lines. This is a regime that since 1979 has been chanting on a regular basis, death to Israel, death to America. And they want nuclear weapons and ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, to deliver those nuclear weapons. They have to be disarmed of nuclear weapons, and I would say of ballistic missiles as well. And by the way, they are still right now killing their own people in the tens of thousands. That has not stopped. So they're very good negotiators. They know what they're doing. I don't think, I understand the president always wants to be optimistic, but I don't think these guys want to give up the Islamic Revolution. And the Islamic Revolution its goal is Islamic dominance, and two nations, only two nations stand in the way. One's Israel and the other is the United States.
Cliff, are you surprised that President Trump is hanging in on this negotiation so long? I mean, Iran's economy is in the tank. Their people have had it. We've clearly proven that if we want to make a change, we can do that. And frankly, at this point, I think most of the world would say thank you. Why is he hanging in so long?
I think all that, well, look, I think he always wants to give diplomacy a chance. He's a very rational guy in the sense he thinks surely they would rather have a deal than get hit and have themselves militarily crippled. They really want that. He may not. It may be difficult for him to imagine how committed, at least Ali Khamenei is, to this Islamic Revolution of 1979. They've only had two supreme leaders. This one has been supreme leader since 1989. He doesn't want to give it up and say, you know what I want is for my people to have a better life. I want them to have chicken in every pot at least once a week, maybe a good health care system. That's not who he is. He's not a young guy. It's hard. It's hard. Also, the president does want to make sure that he has the military assets in place so that he can do what he did during the 12-day war and make sure there are no American casualties and that he achieves the goals he sets for himself. But those goals, we know what they are. We know what the red lines are. No nuclear weapons, no enrichment whatsoever. They don't have a right to enrich. Stop killing your own people. Stop supporting all the various terrorist groups in the Middle East, as they have been doing really for 46 years. All that is there. And I don't really see this regime saying, you know what, we cave, we give in, we're willing to do that. We want to live and let live. It's hard for them to do that. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you can just look at what they did, I think, in the past 24 hours, where Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz for some military exercises, right as we're moving our military assets in there, right as we're talking about their nuclear deal. Why would they do that other than to signal they don't actually have a sincere interest in talking with us?
That's right. The Straits of Hormuz, they have no right to close that. They will make it their waterway if they can, if they have the military ability. I don't think they do, not if the U.S. challenges them. Others won't challenge them. Here's something else almost nobody knows. These meetings, they were not direct talks. In other words, the envoys for the Islamic Republic of Iran will not deign to sit down in the same room with the infidels. They go through intermediaries, diplomats from Oman, because they don't, and this was the case during the Obama administration too, I believe. They don't like to sit down with the infidels and negotiate as if they were equal, as if we're all equals. They see themselves as superior to the infidels.
Well, Cliff, I think it's a couple weeks before the talks resume again. Of course, we're going to follow every twist and turn and hope to have you back to help unpack all of it. Thank you very much for joining us, Cliff May.